This episode of the Home Impodcast is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audiobook download and a 30-day free trial at audibletrial.com/homeimpodcast. Over 180,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player. Now on to the show.
Does everybody know what time it is?
Home Impodcast time!
That's right. Binford Tools is proud to present a Home Improvement Podcast. My name is Adam, and you all know my co-host, Jordan.
Hello.
Jordan.
Fancy seeing you here.
I think it's just best to tell everyone that we've already recorded. We recorded the first 30 minutes. There was an error with my recording.
Do you think people would like to hear just my recording and then try to piece it together?
You know, it's unfortunate because I think we had a pretty good episode going. There was a lot of laughs to be had, some good bits, and now we're back doing it again, and all we can do is make the best of what I would say is a bad situation, but, nothing can be done now.
We got some of our bad jokes out of the way. I don't remember our good jokes, so that might be a problem.
I suppose not. We're going to try this again. And
the good news is that we're not going to talk about animals. The good news is we're not going to talk about the weather.
Yeah, that's true. We can just cut to the chase, as it were, in a way that we didn't do before. So, somewhere out there, lost in the ether, the Lost Home Podcast episode, the first 30 minutes of The Eyes Don't Have It.
Maybe our lucky Patreon
can have the audio of just you alone.
Just me.
That would be funny. It'd be like
they'll really like it, I'm
social
sure.
Experiment. All right, Jordan. So I'm going to try to add some variety here.
Please.
I proposed earlier, and I'm proposing again. You know, sometimes we start off the show, we talk about the weather, or we awkwardly kind of talk about things that have happened off air.
We talked about Valentine's.
None of that really matters. But what does matter, Jordan, is history. Specifically, the history of today's date, which is February 16th. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you some things that happened, historically speaking, on February 16th. And I just kind of want to riff, you know? So let's just kind of talk.
You know what they say about history?
Yeah.
Those who fail to remember it are doomed to repeat it. I don't want to repeat any of the things that happened on this date. So let's hear it.
Likewise. I think I'm going to get in here and edit this so that the audio recording issue we had today is somewhere on this list near the bottom. 2018 Home Podcast records 30 minutes.
Is it a Wikipedia article or something you can't edit?
It's history.com. I can't edit it.
I think we could get into there.
You called my bluff. All right, so February 16th, Jordan. I don't want to give you the same ones, but I'm going to have to start with one of them. 1997. Jordan, February 16th, Jeff Gordon becomes youngest Daytona winner.
Oh, man. Neither of us are big NASCAR fans.
Yeah, or winners. I've never won a NASCAR race.
I did have an old video game that I used to play in my Windows computer that you could race around, and I won some races on there. But, what I remember about Jeff Gordon, number 24, my favorite number as well. His last name, Gordon. Mm-hmm. My brother used to call me Gordon Bombay. Mm-hmm. So there's a very slight relation there.
Just so slight. So slight. Yeah. So slight it's hardly worth mentioning.
Yes. So, one of our friends is a big NASCAR fan, and they had like a garage out back.
Yeah.
And had some stuff hanging up, memorabilia. I think they hated Jeff Gordon for some reason. I don't know why.
It's interesting that you would hate, I just don't know enough about racing to, why would you hate one racer versus the other? Aren't they all just kind of doing the same thing?
I think there's certain allegiances that develop, and there's certain teams. So I guess that's why. But, maybe it's one of those things. I don't know how good Jeff Gordon was. I guess he was very famous, but maybe they hated him like people hate Tom Brady.
Yeah. You mean there's a Facebook show called, what is the Tom Brady Facebook show called?
Tom versus Time,
Tom versus Tom. Jeff versus
Journey.
Jeff versus Journey. Jeff versus Job. All right, good way to start. Here's another one. I like this one. We'll do a new one here. Okay, 1778. So we talked earlier, Jordan, and they
pretty close to the birth of this country.
U.S. dollar became legal tender, but also John Adams prepares to sail for France.
Whoa!
Does that mean anything to you?
I mean, never been to Europe myself.
What do you make of that? What do you make of that, my man?
I think it certainly has something to do with a little bit of French ties. With
Pocahontas kind of action, right?
Don't think so.
That's John Smith, darn it.
Yep.
Okay, well, I did
it's a good thing you're reading this.
You know, I minored in history and taught high school history classes for a period, so to the parents of those children, I apologize.
My goodness. No, John Adams, former president.
Yeah, sure.
Founding father, diplomat, just
general baller. Just all around baller.
General baller. Doesn't get quite the press that Alexander Hamilton does, though.
Yeah. I mean, that's semantics. He could have easily written a play called Adams.
He could have. There was a great restaurant when we were in D.C. called the Hamilton. We ate there twice. We liked it so much. There was not a restaurant called the Adams.
That you know of.
That I know of. You could open that. Your name is Adam.
It's Adam. Yeah, it actually is Adam. Another thing we got here. Okay,
you're not going to bring up the King Tut again?
Nah, I don't think so. Maybe. I don't know. February 16th, 1933, David O. Selznick returns to MGM. I bring this up because I'm currently listening to a podcast called You Must Remember This, which is a podcast that discusses the lore and or forgotten histories of Hollywood's golden age. And I just finished a mini-series about the MGM years, and I really recommend it to fans of film, specifically kind of historical film. It's really, really good. Jordan, you don't need to weigh in on that one, but I do want you to weigh in on...
I like that lion. Aren't they the ones with the lion?
Yeah, it's like the lion that roars. February 16th... I love it too. February 16th, 1923, archaeologist opens the tomb of King Tut.
Now, this is important.
Yeah.
This is... wasn't there like a great search for this tomb, this King Tut's tomb? And you and I are both huge archaeology fans. I mean... Ross from Friends really inspired that in both of us, I think.
Didn't you say that? You said that you Friends character that reminds you most of yourself is Ross.
No.
Yes, you did.
I said Chandler.
No,
man.
I'm 90% sure you said Ross. And I'm thinking, who would want to be Ross?
I think you probably pinned me as Ross.
Okay,
because
that makes sense.
I did like dinosaurs, that's for sure.
Well, hey, what kid doesn't? I actually don't care about archaeology to speak of. When I think of archaeology, when I think of this, I think of the Steve Martin stand-up bit, King Tut. Yeah. King Tut. And then I also think of the beginning of The Exorcist, because it is an archaeological dig in Morocco that unleashes the demon and somehow finds its way in the Georgetown district of Washington, D.C. Spooky film.
Yeah, very spooky. And, archaeology, people equate that with Indiana Jones, and that's important. You brought up Steve Martin.
Isn't it? Yeah, I would say
so.
I mean,
if you're a Disney fan, they've got some Disney ties there.
Yeah, definitely.
They have an attraction. And, you brought up Steve Martin. I just watched It's Complicated the other night.
Yeah, great film.
Believe it or not. Great film.
Starring
Nancy Myers.
Action star John Krasinski.
John Krasinski. Alec Baldwin. It's good.
It's a good one. I remember seeing it in theaters.
It's a romp.
It is what you'd call a laugh riot. Jordan, speaking of laugh riots, we're covering an episode of Home Improvement this week, the television show Home Improvement.
Are we?
Yeah, that's what we do on this show. Every episode we kind of talk about Home Improvement, and we analyze it, and then we say what we liked about it. And sometimes we have some banter. Sometimes we talk about things in the beginning.
No wonder that I
stuff.
sound like a weirdo in most of our episodes. It's 77 episodes. I haven't known this.
Okay, yeah, you didn't. We should have talked about structure at some point early on in the process. But yeah, that's what we're doing here today. So if this is your first episode, jumping in on 79, welcome. And we're talking about, what's the title of this episode? I have continued to butcher it throughout both recordings.
I kind of want to hear what you think it is now.
I wrote in my notes first, the eyes have it, but I guess it's the eyes don't have it, right?
Yeah, the eyes have it is the popular phrase.
Okay, well, that makes sense.
So, yeah, it is 78. The eyes don't have it. Written by John Vandergriff. He last wrote The Great Race 2, which you loved, I loved. Everyone but Tim loved because he lost to Bob Vila again.
I really don't like those Great Race episodes. They are bad. Bad news bears.
They're not great. This episode aired on October 11th, 1994. And no plot keywords, no goofs or interesting trivia, but we do have quite a few alternative titles between the two of us, so...
5 and 5. Let's get into them. I'll start with my first one. And, it's not my best, it's not my worst. It's glasses for the classes.
I will start with probably my worst. Holy linoleum.
Yeah. That's nice acting like we haven't already heard these. My next one, blinded by my sight.
I like that one. So this one would have been more effective if they didn't actually name the title the way it was, because I feel like they were trying to make this sort of mystery the whole time.
It's a murder mystery without any murder or mystery.
The Great Mark Mystery.
Yeah, it's alliterative. I don't need to explain my pop culture references again, but here's my first one. Vision Quest.
A movie I've never seen. Surprise, surprise.
Me neither.
You know what? Mother knows best.
I like it. From Friday Night Lights TV show, 4 eyes, full heart, can't lose.
You know, I've seen one episode of that.
It's worth watching every episode outside of the second season.
The rest of them?
Really bad second season.
Oh, that's not a good one.
Yeah, you can just skip over it.
My next one, second to last one, Out of Sight, Out of Pine.
This is from the least popular M. Night Shyamalan movie. Followed his smash success, The Sixth Sense, with Unbreakable. Sam Jackson utters this line, they call me Mr. Glasses.
Seen just bits and pieces of that movie. Did not see that part, unfortunately.
It's bizarre, yeah.
It's bizarre. Got 2 good actors in it, though, right? Bruce Willis, Samuel Jackson?
Yeah, baby. Two the best.
You just don't see Bruce Willis enough anymore.
I thought you were going to say you don't see Sam Jackson enough because he's in every movie, in every commercial, and you couldn't avoid him if you were trying.
Yeah, that's true. And he's in all the Marvel stuff, too, so he's everywhere.
Yeah. You got one more?
He loves Capital One. My last one?
Yeah.
I'm dorky and no-wit.
I liked it the first time, love it the second time. Crisp. Those are okay. Those are okay. The second time, I think I'm feeling a little bit less critical. So yeah, there we did our best. Better than the actual episode title that ruins whatever semblance of a mystery they're trying to set up.
I would say it is a good episode title, but yeah, if they are trying to keep it a mystery, as it seems like they're trying to, doesn't quite work out. You did make a point earlier that people who are watching this probably don't know that that's the episode title. They don't. When you're watching Netflix, it'll say the episode title or whatever, and it doesn't quite do that anymore. So
yeah, the TV Guide channel or reading TV guides, you would have gotten episode titles, but in general, if you're just sitting down watching Home Improvement, it doesn't show up on the screen or whatever. So it's probably not a big giveaway. It is still stupid that they would have named it this if they are trying to hold on to a mystery. And ooh, what a satisfying mystery it is. I lost my locket.
Oh, I didn't know that she was here.
Yeah, she's always. You
know how there's usually a narrator in some things like this. She's the narrator.
Yeah, man. There's usually a narrator in things like this.
What, in a story where there's a mystery? I feel like they're telling it from here's what happened.
You wish that Marie was the narrator.
I wish that she narrated my life.
And then Mark went upstairs, and he was sad, but nobody knew why. All right.
That's brand new. Brand new. We didn't do that before.
That's off the top. Let's. I'm not going to say rush through this, but I do have a train to catch at 2:30. And it's 12.
Train to catch. Holy crap!
Yeah. So
it's King Tut all over again.
Yeah, we gotta get going.
So plot synopsis.
I didn't know that the first 35 minutes were going to be lost. It is more my fault than yours because my machinery did it, but I also did hit record and it just didn't do it.
Listen, it's no one's fault. We're not going to blame anyone.
I appreciate that. That's kind of you. All right, you open.
All right, well, let's do the plot synopsis written by Anonymous. It's short, so you should be happy about this.
Yeah.
Mark is afraid that getting eyeglasses will cause everyone to make fun of him. That's it.
He's right.
So we open on Tool Time. Al is rolling up some carpet. The logo is laying down. It must be some luxurious carpet. They keep talking about different carpeting and tools to help with the installation of carpeting. It's very boring. Tim also is very bored by it, and he just wants to talk about the tools. They move on to the tools. There's a very bad walrus to walrus joke about carpeting, but the crowd really likes it. We don't. Not so much.
Well, hated it.
Tim has some special tool for carpeting because Al's, including the porcupine tool, I guess that's what it's called, doesn't have enough power for him. So he gives it a shot, his new souped up more power tool. Runs over the Berber carpet. It looks okay at first. Yeah. Al lifts it up and it has sliced it to shreds.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Were you surprised that Tim's souped up version of the tool didn't work?
I thought that was going to be the mystery. How Tim actually made a tool that didn't screw something up, but that mystery was solved very quickly.
All right. Cold up and boring.
So cold, it's frigid.
It's
if we were doing a Wilsometer of this cold open.
We should be doing. I think we should start doing Wilsometer readings of every scene. Just
check it constantly.
Shake it. All right, next scene. Randy, is he cooking? Is he boiling water? What's he doing? Well,
he's definitely boiling water.
Is he cooking? Is he preparing to cook, though? We don't really know, but we're going to find out shortly thereafter that Mark got a letter sent home, and apparently what they're trying to do is they're trying to open the letter with steam so they can read it and see what the problem is. I thought that they were trying to, dampen the envelope so that he could see through it, but I think that...
I think the steam, your method may be possible, but I think that would ruin the integrity of the envelope.
And really, you want to have envelopes with integrity.
Integrity matters.
Yeah, teachers are not going to send home envelopes with loose constitutions, if it were. But Mark's in trouble. Randy and Brad, they're kind of trying to rally around him and help him out. There is a lot of mystery here, supposedly, about what the problem is. I'm struggling with names. Jill and Tim come home and they're like, "Is it your letter, Brad? Is it your letter, Randy?" No, it's Mark's. And they're confused as to why, Mark would have a letter. I wondered why the teacher wouldn't just write in the letter that Mark needs glasses. Why do they have to meet? It kind of seems like a waste of time.
Yeah,
it's not super secretive or anything.
She doesn't know, though. She doesn't know what's going on.
Oh, the teacher doesn't know. She says
Mark's just... Yeah, she's just...
I feel like she should be able to, kind of deduce that, though.
Yeah, it must happen all the time. I mean, it certainly happened with my teacher all the time. She figured out pretty quickly. And, now don't they test for it quite a bit when they're younger? Kids are younger?
I don't know. I'm not entirely sure, but that would make sense. In any case, Mark has a lot of heavy lifting to do in this episode, a lot of capital A acting, and I would argue he's maybe not up for the challenge. A lot of pausing between seeing, people will deliver dialogue to Mark, and then he kind of has to wait and then say it back, and it's not stellar, but, Mark was probably excited to have a whole episode kind of built around him. Mark sort of just storms off upstairs, and then we get a lot of dialogue about how busy Tim and Jill are currently. Their schedules are just too much, a lot going on.
Classes, tool time, sax practice.
They're just super busy. And you know what happens when you're really busy? You just kind of things start to slip your mind. And that is we're heading towards the episode's first major mystery. What's this going to lead to? What are they going to forget to do? And I tell you what, the results are cataclysmic.
This episode is riddled with mysteries.
Yeah, indeed.
When's the last time that we did have a plot built around Mark? Was it when
the bedroom boys?
It might have been the bedroom boys. I was kind of thinking about that time that he beat his brothers in that video game on the Game Boy.
This is probably the first episode I remember where the A plot kind of revolves around him.
Yeah, A plot.
Yeah, it really works out well too. It's super interesting.
A plus, more like A plus plot.
Amen. More like amen. All right, so we're back to tool time. Al's talking linoleum. It's a very boring lecture-esque kind of situation. Tim, to really amp up the comedy, puts on a nightcap, lights a candle, and kind of curls up into a ball in a nearby desk. Al doesn't see it somehow. The episode just kind of ends, and we head backstage, and Heidi was sleeping
too. There was a joke that you liked.
The next The next lecture is on the vinyl frontier, which is one of the few laughs I got in this episode.
Yeah. I know you got a train to catch, Adam, but man, we gotta we gotta talk about the things we like at least.
You know, we have had to pause a few times for your work, IM. So I just kind of think this episode's cursed. I'm trying to get through it.
Everything's trying to go against us right now.
True.
Yeah, as you said, they go backstage. Heidi's asleep, but she mistakenly compliments Al to try to cover up for
mistake.
it. So
big mistake.
Big mistake. Al then takes her out to lunch to talk more about vinyl.
Hey,
and we don't mean records.
You can't see it, but I'm raising my eyebrows. I don't know.
I
don't know what Eileen would think.
Yeah, I'm wondering myself, but we haven't seen her all season, so I guess she
haven't
doesn't
heard from
think
her
much.
on Twitter either. All right, home.
I think we go
ahead.
Sorry,
I don't want to. We head home, Jordan. We just head home.
Yeah, let's go home.
We're going home, and Randy and Tim, they're talking a little bit. Beth, Randy's like, guess girlfriend. She's coming over later, and Randy doesn't want to smell bad because he's got football practice. Good to see he's still playing football. Stuck with it. That's important.
Yeah,
important for kids.
Just like Brad's sticking with the sax.
Yeah, definitely. And it's kind of hard to. We can't really fake you explaining the squirrel joke to me, but there was some confusion as to. There's a joke about how Randy wants to rub a pine air freshener, or Tim says he should rub a pine air freshener on him to smell better, and Randy says if it doesn't work, well, the squirrels will sure love me. I didn't get that, but now I do, because it's a pine air freshener, and it's a really, really good joke, and I feel embarrassed I didn't get it because it's just so telegraphed and laid out.
Yeah, it's definitely obvious, and you know, if you can't be loved by women, I think we all want to be loved by squirrels.
It's the next best thing, yeah.
So yeah, we move on from that funny joke. Did we learn that Beth is coming over later, right?
Yeah, she's coming over after football practice.
Yeah, she's gonna come over. I don't know if they're gonna study or what they're gonna do, but Jill comes home.
He's gonna be like, "Hey, you want to see what I can do in these chat rooms?" Hey, you want to?
Yeah, what did she say about the catfishing? That's what I want to know.
Hey, Beth, you want to see how much software I can get this woman to send me?
Oh. Do you need any software?
Hey, Beth, you need any upgrades?
I got connections.
Yeah, keep going, sorry.
No, that's good.
Yeah.
So Jill comes home as well. She had the meeting with the parent there. So Mark has been withdrawn and attentive. Like we said, she doesn't exactly know what's going on. She doesn't know it's his eyes at this point. He's just being weird. Mark's being a real weirdo. And Jill blames her.
I don't know why they're surprised by that.
I know. So Jill, you know, she's want to blame herself. Like, that's what she usually does. It's always, you know, her going back to work or doing something. In this case, it's her going back to school. So she thinks that he's, you know, reacting out against that. After that, there's a lot of yelling and hurting. Tim says, I'm going to go investigate what's going on upstairs. And Jill has to rush the boys out to go where they're going. So that's where we're going.
It's a real, you know, just chaos. Chaos reigns supreme. It reminded me of the Joker in Batman. You know, just a lot of chaos.
Yeah, this is just like Batman.
It's just chaos, man. Chaos reigns supreme. All right, we're upstairs. Mark is he's trying to untie his shoes that are tied together. Just some really good physical acting. Mark, he doesn't want a flu shot, presumably because if he goes to the doctor's going to figure out he can't see, ? Big laptop there that Mark's kind of playing on a little bit. Just continue to be a lot of lines for Mark. He has to deliver a lot of dialogue, but it's mostly the same kind of dialogue where it's like, "Won't you guys leave me alone? I don't know. Mom already asked me that." It's just a lot of that. But they're going to get the flu shot. On the way out, Tim makes a joke about Mark having to get a physical and turning his head and coughing, which was strange, I thought.
Yeah,
but, you know,
almost as strange as like how much he's struggling with those shoes, untying the shoelaces.
It's not my favorite Mark moment of physical acting that comes at the end of this episode, but it's like top 3.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Tim takes the shoes away, and I don't think he ever really unties them as well. So that must be
Mark
a hefty.
Walks in barefoot. If a kid walks in to get a flu shot barefoot, that kid might end up staying at the hospital and kind of going into some protective custody, because that's kind of a red flag if your kid walks into the hospital without shoes on.
Yeah, they're gonna certainly make some calls,
yeah.
but we don't see that part at all. Instead, we go back home, and Brad and Mom are coming in, and Brad wants a cell phone. He's tying up the phone lines all the time with his calls from all the girls, and he's trying to weasel his way into a cell phone.
Jordan, we talked about dates earlier, February 16th in history. So February 16th, 1994, kids aren't asking for cell phones, Jordan. They're asking for phones in their room. I remember my sister had a really cool phone in her room, kind of a see-through phone. You could see all like the inside of it, and it was pretty sweet. I never had one because we had like a cordless phone, which kind of like the same thing, take it anywhere in the house. But perhaps you did?
Yeah, I did have, in that awesome room that I had growing up. I don't think we made any of those jokes this time around.
No, we haven't. Save it for another time.
I did have a not a cordless phone, but it had a decent cord on it. Didn't make a lot of calls in there, but
you probably had some ladies calling you though. If I know you, you were like the Belmead Casanova of Davison. Jordan,
I put that on my LinkedIn profile as my current occupation.
Jordan, would you say your room ever really, between the ages of 8 and 18, would you say you made a lot of changes to your bedroom in terms of like what was hanging on the walls?
A lot of people, what they do is they kind of change, like as time goes on, they change.
I would say everybody does that.
What their decoration tastes are. Really, what I did is I just put up different posters.
No, you did. It was the same posters. You had like the same basketball posters that you probably got in second grade when. Even
from
like
a magazine.
Even like when we came back when you were like 22, and like we're still hanging out in there.
You know what? I still liked Penny Hardaway. I still like Shaq.
You still
all that kind of stuff. So it was more like a museum of sorts.
Yeah.
You said a time capsule. I think that's a good way.
Yeah, it's a time. It's a wonder you got married and had girlfriends and so on. Bring him to that bedroom.
They didn't spend a lot of time in that room.
Yeah,
so
sure, fair enough.
That probably helped.
So Jill and Tim, they're back home, and they talk more about Mark, and the mystery just continues. The plot thickens, and we just can't. Based on the episode title, we have no idea what is wrong with Mark, and like there's just no discernible way to really guess. So we're just continually stuck kind of in the mystery. You know what? Beth is there, but Randy is not. Well, what? Wait, what? What happened? Oh, Tim forgot to pick up Randy from football practice because they're both so busy. Remember that dangling plot thread about how busy they were earlier? Well, they forgot to pick up Randy. What? Wait, what? Crazy.
You know who really dropped the ball there?
Yeah, who?
I mean, Randy usually is the one who's dropping the ball. But
those kids can walk home half the time. Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, they're probably watching out for Vinny McGurn. He's probably out to get him.
It's kind of hard to walk with your football pads and your helmet. I saw a lot of kids do it when I was younger. But Tim goes and picks up Randy. Beth is hanging with Jill at the table. It's kind of awkward. Beth, she's candid. She thinks it's weird that Jill's at school. I would say she's not very progressive. But Jill's like, hey Beth, why don't you just go up to Randy's room? Just hang out there. I don't want to deal with you anymore.
Yeah, take your stuff and get out of my face, which is basically what she says without saying it.
Pretty weird, I would say. Mark enters and he's cagey still, and Jill can't really get anything out of him.
Would you call Mark cagey?
He's I mean, Nicolas Cage, obviously he's the cagiest, but Mark second place, just in terms of his overall caginess.
Yeah, I don't know if I would attribute that kind of skill to Mark's acting here, but
he's super cagey, man. Super cagey.
Isn't there a really good book that was written by...
It's funny you bring that up, yeah. It's funny that it's weird that you knew about that too. Yeah, Mark, I was doing some digging, archaeological digging on IMDb, and I discovered that Mark and his mom co-wrote a book in 2015 called... Crazy that I actually don't remember, even though we've already said it.
I think it's something about stardom.
Yeah, but I gotta get the title right.
Unexpected Stardom, maybe? I don't know.
It's called... Stardom happens.
Stardom happens.
Stardom happens.
You took a little bit of...
I mean, stardom? I don't know that... I mean, I guess he's... Stardom... I would say, like... minor fame happens would be like a more appropriate title. I wouldn't call this stardom, but, I suppose it's relative. He
was on a very famous TV show, so I guess...
Sure, but we gotta get our hands on...
It's more stardom than what we have now.
Let's get our hands on that book, and I'm thinking bonus ep. I'm thinking with the way this recording has gone really well across the board, no issues on either side, that we should do a bonus ep talking about Stardom Happens. Kind of a Home Impodcast book club.
Oh, now there's an idea that won't take.
Yeah, there's an idea that we won't get anyone on board with. All right. So,
but the Wilsometer is something we can get people on board
people are
with.
Juiced. This is about where we left off before, so we're finally caught up.
Yeah, this is something new.
So Randy and Brad side yard hanging out. Brad's kicking a soccer ball. Not Randy. Mark, in fact. He kind of reluctantly asks, "How can I get the teacher to move me to the front of the room?" And Brad's like, "What? Why'd you want to go to the front of the room? That's where the teacher is."
You do great impressions.
What? This is where the gauntlet is dropped and it's revealed. And I know that no one really would have been able to guess this. We talked about M. Night Shyamalan earlier and his kind of twist. But the twist of this episode is, Jordan, Mark can't see. He needs glasses.
He's blind.
Blinded by my sight. We at the same, we're in the side yard, so Wilson he's overhearing / eavesdropping, and Jordan, let's play a clip.
Heidi ho, Taylor lads. Brad, I believe this is yours.
Oh, thanks, Wilson.
Wilson. Did you hear what we were saying?
Just the part about not seeing the board and needing glasses.
You're not going to tell my parents, are you?
Mark, that isn't my place. But I hope that you will.
I can't. Don't make me get glasses, and I'll look like a dork.
Mark, might I remind you that Benjamin Franklin, Sigmund Freud, Mahatma Gandhi all wore glasses, and I don't think that anyone would consider them dorks.
I would.
I don't want to look like a dork.
Well, then may I suggest an alternative solution that will help improve your eyesight. Here's a handy little trick I picked up from a Russian ophthalmologist I met at a caviar tasting festival. Take a piece of paper, and you make a tiny, tiny, tiny little hole, then you hold it up to your eye, and it will correct your myopia by allowing the eye to refocus light upon a mosaic of photosensitive receptors.
What?
It'll help you see better.
Wow, it really works.
Uh-huh. And if you use two, it's twice as effective.
This is great. I'll never have to wear glasses. And I won't look like a dork.
Mark, buddy. Just tell me one thing. What do I look like?
A dork.
My lone note for this scene, of course, I can't hear the clip. We put the clips in later, so I don't really remember what's said, but I wrote, "Wilson helps with trick, ? So, Jordan, I'm hoping you can fill in the gaps here. I know that there's a trick with you put a piece of paper on your eye or something, and it gets your...
Is this kind of like a Sir Harry Houdini trick?
It's equally impressive, I would say. Yeah.
Or is it Sir Larry Houdini?
Either or. I honestly don't. I don't really know or remember much about the Wilson advice here. So yeah, help me out.
Yeah, I mean, well, we'll get to our Wilsometers later. I'm worried about your Wilsometer reading.
No, it's gonna be good. Don't worry about it.
So yeah, Wilson pipes up. The soccer ball went into his arena, I guess you could say. And
yeah. I think you could say that. I don't know why you would, but yeah, definitely.
You could. There's no one stopping you.
No, it's free country, man. Pay my taxes.
So, Mark he feels like he's been eavesdropped on. Wilson kind of caught him by surprise here, and he's concerned that Wilson's going to tell his parents the big reveal.
Wilson doesn't snitch.
He's not a snitcher. He says, "That's not my place, but you should tell them," he says. And Mark's worried because he's going to be a dork. But Wilson, he doesn't really give advice here. He just gives him another solution. So he like says he met with some Russian ophthalmologist, and he showed him a little trick where you draw like little dots on paper and you hold them up to your face. And Mark's like, "Oh, great! I can wear these and I won't look like a dork." And Brad, he shows Mark what he looks like with these pieces of papers, and it looks like he's a dork. So I guess you might as well just tell your parents anyways.
Might as well. Cool. I gotta step out for a second.
You gotta catch that train?
No, well, yeah, eventually, but I gotta check my Wilsometer real quick. So,
okay. All right, just a moment.
All right, got it. Wilsometer reading this week. Let me see here. It's calibrating. You know how thermometers are.
Yeah, they're just sometimes they take a little while. They go up and down with fluctuations, and we want to get a level reading.
Yeah, I actually have one. It's 12 degrees Fahrenheit.
Are you outside while you're reading that?
I came in. Yeah, I came inside. Maybe the temperature's been tainted, but I leave it outside just for
wow, that's
decoration.
Pretty frigid.
Yeah, I felt like his advice was not advice. It's not, I'm tempted to give it a 0, but I feel like there's going to be a really bad one moving forward that I could give a 0 to. He just doesn't, there's really no advice. He gives him kind of an impractical solution where he's going to hold up pieces of paper to his eye at school as opposed to telling his parents, which is just kind of stupid. I didn't get a lot from this, so yeah, I think 12 degrees is more than fair in terms of a Wilsometer reading.
It's certainly not fair weather.
Mm-hmm.
I would maybe give it a little bit higher than you. Let's see what my thermometer says. My thermometer is a little bit more quiet than yours, but I would...
It's probably because you spent so much on it. You and your fancy remote job.
Yeah. I'd say it looks like about 60 degrees, so quite a bit difference from yours. Mm-hmm. And you know why I think that? I think, it's one of those situations where he can just show instead of tell, so he doesn't have to try to convince Mark with words and certain phrases. He just says, look, you're going to look like a dork one way or another, so just suck it up and go tell your parents. So he shows him... the other options are far worse than what you've got.
He shows him the road less traveled, and
he doesn't want to travel.
In the end, that makes all the difference. Yeah, 60. We really differ on this one. Hey, makes for better podcasting, I guess.
It makes for better forecasting, weather forecasting.
Usually I would put my Wilsometer back outside, but I can leave it inside. We're not going to do another recording for a while. All right, so Mark heads inside and, pretty much immediately spills the beans, and it's pretty heartfelt.
Yeah, he's ready to talk, and Jill's ready to listen.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
He can't see, he needs glasses. He's going to be even a bigger dork now.
Legitimate concern, if you're Mark, I would say.
Yeah, he's being bullied for being a dork.
Yeah.
But, Jill says, what's real cool?
Being
real
yourself.
Cool is feeling good about yourself and not worrying about what others think.
That's such helpful advice for a child. It's like
it is.
I would say you know what's cool? Being like everybody else in school. That's what's cool. You know what's cool? Being a chameleon and blending in so no one notices you. That's what's really cool, Mom. Thanks for your advice. Being yourself isn't cool until you're in college, and even then, sometimes it's not that cool. But
yeah, I would say, her advice maybe should be like, you shouldn't be worried about
she's
being
going to be
cool.
a psychiatrist, and this is her advice.
This is why she's taking classes.
This is why she's in Psych 101. She's going to, I don't know, I fear for her patience. I'm losing patience with her in this episode.
She uses Tim as an example. He's kind of a dork. He screws things up all the time, but he feels good about himself, so be more like your father. That's going to really come back to bite her later, though.
Oh, man, yeah. I mean, the writing's on the wall for how Mark's going to turn out, so...
yeah, but Jill, before that happens, wants to pump him up. She says he's smart, he's fun to be with, and we've seen that a lot in this series so far.
He's so fun to be with. Like, genuinely, when I'm with Mark, I have so much fun.
He definitely doesn't have any problem. When Mark's in his room
alone playing computer games, he's so fun to be with.
He did not have any problems getting a Valentine's Day.
It reminds me of, an episode of The Bachelor, or Bachelorette, where it's he's just so fun to be with.
Oh, man.
It's fun to be with. I just have a good time with him.
Little Mark on The Bachelor.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't read when stardom happens, but I gotta believe that's part of it.
I bet you he would have been great on Kid Nation.
I know we talked about Kid Nation like very early on in the run, but yeah, you liked Kid Nation in a really like genuine.
I had posters of Kid Nation up right next to Penny Hardaway.
Non-ironic way, you really liked Kid Nation. You can say that you like thought it was fun or funny or like you were making fun of it, but I didn't like really see that at all. I just saw like you watching it stone faced, kind of taking notes for analysis.
Taking notes.
So you can talk about it.
When I was younger, my viewing habits were so suspect with Kid Nation and Smallville that as I got older, I just stopped watching movies and stuff because I couldn't trust myself. That's why when you ask me all the time,
are so bad. Your mom didn't tell your mom did not say be yourself. She did not give that Jill advice. She said, "Hey, maybe you should start watching things everybody else likes." All right, let's get to the end of this. All right,
I got a stitch. Oh no!
One of my favorite visuals in Home Improvement up until this point is this scene where Mark enters and he puts on his glasses and he does a really slow spin.
Oh my god!
I'm gonna boomerang that or take a video of it, post it when we release this episode because it is. I mean. It's fantastic. He does like a little like twirl kind of like it's almost like he's sort of a ballet-esque ballet type kind of dancer. He just kind of spins around. It's like ta-da! Yeah, it's great.
And you know what? He looks real nerdy.
Yeah, it's tough. Well, in the last scene, he's like, "Mom, do you think I would look good in aviators?" And I'm thinking like Top Gun kind of aviators. But this is about as far from that as you can get.
These are not aviators. Yeah, and Tim kind of like tells his older brothers, not Tim's older brothers. Tim's older brothers.
I think Tim's older brothers are going to be in the next episode. So yeah, he tells Randy and Brad like don't. He tells
Randy and Brad, yeah, don't be a-holes to your brother here. So they're not.
They're pretty chill. They're actually that's maybe one of the only other nice parts of the episode is just kind of their response and like how they're like, it looks pretty cool. Obviously, it doesn't. Or like, no one's allowed to make fun of you except for us. And then they walk upstairs.
Yeah.
Roll credits fade to black. The eyes don't have it. Jordan, no, there's nothing worth going back for. There can't be. If you're going to say because Tim's actually, it's okay to be a dork like Dad, that is not worth us going back for.
Yeah, Tim gets miffed by it though, so I liked it.
Yeah, okay, good. Roll credits fade to black. The eyes don't have it.
I'd say
a bit of a murder
this
mystery.
Episode... this murder mystery doesn't have it.
Yeah, I would say it does not. I'll go first. Highs. I really like that spit. Okay, there are no like actual highs. I don't like anything about this episode. It's quite poor. But if I give one high, it's the reveal at the end when Mark puts on his glasses and does like a little spin, which is something that'll be seared into my brain in a good way throughout the run of the podcast. Really enjoyed that. Really got a laugh out of that.
Probably for the rest of your life.
Potentially the rest of my life. Lows. This is just a really bad episode. I don't want to be mean, but it's hard to have Mark delivering this much dialogue and have an episode kind of just generally centered on Mark. I'm not sure that he was quite up to the task at this ripe age, but it's a rough episode. It's not that funny. The subplot where Tim forgets to pick up Randy isn't really much of anything at all. They kind of just throw Beth in there. But the biggest issue is that they act like there's an actual mystery afoot, but the reveal is in the title of the episode, and it is not a satisfying reveal. Not a good episode at all. I mean, I've had fun talking about it twice now, so I guess that's something. But it's pretty rough.
Yeah, it's not good. I don't really want to labor on too long because I have many of the same points as you. But yeah, I mean, the cold open with the carpet stuff just it had no bearing on what was happening in the whole episode. It wasn't funny on its own either. They spent a long time earlier in the episode where they were talking about how busy they were and how they were going to pull it all off, and it's just not interesting. The A plot, the B plot, the C plot, if there is one, is not interesting. I don't even know what it would. Yeah, I'm not even sure what it would be. Like just Beth staring down Jill.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. Yeah.
My favorite part of the episode was when Mark was untying his shoes. That was my favorite part.
Yeah, man. It's there's a lot of unintentional comedy, but the intentional comedy in this is pretty lackluster and not working. But you could do worse. I wasn't like sometimes I watch these episodes and I'm like, God, like, why do we do this podcast? I'm like, I can't ever watch another episode of this. This one wasn't like that. It was just pretty stupid. Just really, really stupid, I would say.
Yeah, real dumb. Real dumb. So that's episode 78, The Eyes Don't Have It. We'll move over to Sean's social media corner. If you want to reach out to us, let us know how much you liked this episode. You can go to facebook.com/Home Impodcast. Our website's thehomeimpodcast.com. We're on Twitter at Home Impodcast. And if you'd like to support the show monetarily or with your reviews, you can go to Apple Podcasts, review us there, or go to patreon.com/Home Impodcast, where you can support us for as little as $1 a month. And Adam, what's been going on Twitter? What kind of polls you got going on?
Jordan, Twitter has been really good to us this week. A lot of traction. I think we're hitting our stride. And it's definitely, the downloads reflect that. So, Twitter poll this week, favorite Rick Moranis film, 11 total votes. Probably expected a few more. 10% said Ghostbusters. 27% said Spaceballs and Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. And 36% said The Little Giants. So, in my opinion, the right film won that poll. You would agree with that, wouldn't you?
Quite a spread, though. Yeah, I would agree. Quite a spread, though.
Quite a spread, indeed. Other things, what do we got here? Kevin Haynes reached out and said that Pete's poem to his mom on Mother's Day leaves me in stitches every time. I wonder if the crooked thumb was his idea. He did such a great job and will be missed, and that was in response to our post. So thanks, Kevin. Otherwise, the Halloween podcast said, just finished watching Home Improvement on Hulu. Now Home Impodcast episode 1 begins. So happy to have.
Boy, they're going to be really disappointed with the audio quality.
I said stick with us. I said give us some time. But yeah, good week on Twitter. Follow us, and we'll keep posting and interacting and all that good stuff.
I've got a message from Sarah on Facebook as well. She was this was part of the Harry's age discussion, and since Tim says he played high school football with him, but Harry mentions that his dad lived to be 90, and if that's the case, like based on their ages now, his dad was at least 50 or so when he gave birth to young Harry. So
I don't know. I feel like I think you're maybe a little bit judgmental.
No, I'm just saying that's it could be a little bit older.
You think it can't happen? You think? Hey,
no,
Larry
I
King.
think I think it absolutely can happen. Just a little bit of a surprise there. I didn't think about it the way she thought about it. So.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that with us, Sarah.
She's got an analytical mind.
She does. And that moves us into the question of the week.
Sure does.
The only thing that's keeping you from this train is the question of the week.
Better make it a very open and closed case here. Question of the week. Let me think. All right, so Jordan, we could have talked about it earlier, but we didn't, so we'll talk about it now. Give me your experience with glasses. When did you get glasses?
Yeah, got them in 5th grade, I think it was. For a long time, I could not see the board, and I didn't know why. I just thought that the markers kept drying out, those like Expo markers. So one day I just raised my hand, I said, hey, can you get a new Expo marker? Because that one's obviously dying, and I can't see.
And the teacher was like, you want to teach the class?
No, but everyone looked at me really weird because it was obviously like a working marker.
Yeah.
And from that point, I think she let my mom know, hey, time to maybe get him some glasses. And wore those until 8th grade till I got some contacts. So.
Nice. Cool.
Yeah.
I don't know. I really wanted glasses when I was younger.
You wanted them?
Yeah, I really wanted them. And
you were ahead of that trend that is so popular now.
Evidently. I really wanted them to the point where I basically kind of lied to get them when I was 11 in 5th grade. I kind of just said I needed them when I didn't. But it kind of backfired on me because they ended up giving me a pair of bifocals. So I was in 5th grade just wearing bifocals. And that wasn't very cool.
You and Benjamin Franklin.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, that's what I felt like. So, yeah, I didn't wear them very much. And then, years later, I think in college, I ended up getting them for reading again. I don't wear them often, probably not as much as I should, but I don't need them per se, but they do help when reading, kind of preventing headaches and stuff. But, yeah, 5th grade bifocals, it's hard enough being in 5th grade, 6th grade, middle school. Bifocals don't really help anything.
We really could have bonded over our glasses, but we didn't.
Yeah, man. Coulda, shoulda, woulda.
Coulda, shoulda, woulda. You know what we're going to be covering next week, Adam?
No, I don't know. What is it?
All right.
Tell me.
It's a terrible title.
Tell me.
He ain't heavy. He's just irresponsible.
I did see that one. Yeah, this is.
Oh my gosh.
Tim's brother showing up, and he's bad father, bad husband, bad seed all around.
So we're gonna cover that next week.
Looking forward to it. Hey,
get ready for that.
It's been tough.
You got a train to catch.
It's been tough today. We made the best of it. It's been a pleasure. You know, it could have been a lot worse. Listeners, thank you for listening. Jordan, thank you for joining me. And I guess I should say take care.
Take care, everybody.